What's up, everyone? Kaiju no Kami here.
With the loudest thing ever.
Quiet you or I'll finger snap you if I can actually reach the thing. Come on, snap my fingers. Come on.
Don't think it's going to work that way.
Why aren't you disappearing? Oh man, it's broken.
Rejoice, for you are born witness to he who is coming in to claim the great power of the universe. Yes, I'm reading from my Twilight fan fiction. Why do you ask?
Okay, before we really get going, how do we turn this monstrosity off?
Press down on the soul stone, mind stone. Yeah, the big one.
Mind stone.
Just press down on it. Don't snap it.
Yeah, I was pressing down on it.
Why do you keep trying to break it?
It's like your sonic screwdrivers. She
Okay.
just has to play with it.
Nope, we're talking about Zio now.
We're talking about the
Talking
Twilight.
about Zio. It's better than before.
Wait. I thought we were talking about Decade.
Yeah, it did feel like Decade all over again.
But that was Decade.
No, that was just different skins. Well, yes, it was technically Decade's opening, but it had different skins for characters to make you think they were different characters.
Okay, we digress. This is Kaiju no Kami. I'm Corrupt Kane. That's Advent Nebula. That's Chrysalis. Whatever.
Chrysalis
and that's
Bloodborne.
Silver Quill.
I'm the one with the easiest name to say. I'm sorry, but I went
I
for
have
simple.
one that flows like a rhyme. Krulika Kane.
We are here to talk
Actually, I sound
about
like a stripper.
the first episode of Kamen Rider Zio-O.
You mean Decade?
Decade.
Geo, go, Geo.
Stronger than before.
Or as I like to say after watching that episode, that felt like 3 episodes in one episode.
Oh, but we learned something really, really important about history. Tyrannosaurus rexes sound like elephants.
The rare Elephantus Rex.
It was longer. It felt longer.
Okay, the problem is, you say it felt like 3 episodes, but it felt like 3 episodes they condensed because there was no character development, there were no proper character introductions, there was no introduction to anything going on in the universe. We know absolutely jack shit about this dude other than he's absolutely lazy as hell, but pawns it off on he wants to be
the
king.
overlord, basically.
Of course, he wants to be king because he doesn't want to actually have to do anything with his
He
life.
sounds like Jack, or Leonardo DiCaprio from Titanic. I am the king of the world!
Really? I thought
Which is lame.
I was getting a Monkey D. Luffy vibe. I'm gonna be king of the
At least
Kamen Riders.
Monkey D. Luffy was much more...
At least Luffy worked for his goal.
Yeah.
This dude is just, I want to be king because I'm too lazy to do anything else.
I was born to be king.
It just.
Oh, is he Simba?
And actually,
Simba actually might have more emotion than him.
Actually, that entitlement is pretty unendearing. I mean,
Every other character so far at least has some personality.
most heroes who become a king and you root for them, there's something grossly ill with the world, and the only way to fix it is to become king.
Well,
There's a necessity. This guy's just taking it as a given.
that and it already shows that he already knows he's the main character of the show, that nothing can go wrong with him because he's Mr. Invincible, just like in my Sailor Moon Ra review with Jupiter saying, oh, I can do whatever I want. He already knows he can do whatever he wants. There is no threat to anything that happens to him because he is already Mr. Perfect.
Okay, and the Rejoice guy.
Oh, the
That's
Rejoice guy.
the only good part.
Oh, he's my favorite character, which is not saying much.
Yeah.
But every time I
You just like him because you're drooling over him. That's the only reason.
No. Actually, this is not the case. Yes, he's hot, but that's not the reason. Okay, history of the world.
Part 1.
If anybody, yes. Even though there's never been a part 2.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean you haven't seen part 2?
You've seen part 2.
It was
You've
awful.
seen Juice in Space?
Yeah, it was terrible.
We're flying around protecting the Hebrew race.
Nevertheless, in History of the World Part 1, when they're in Rome, you have this hype man for Caesar who's like on and on and on. And this is going to sound so terrible because it was done in the 80s. I'm not going to say the exact phrase because it's a terrible phrase, but get to the point! And then he says another word which I won't say.
Well, Kelly, you know, when in Rome, do the Romans. Hype it.
But yeah, he's a good hype character. Like,
And then the pop idol they got to be the character of Tsukahime. I'm just like, can you not be so damn wooden? We got Reika and Garo for that.
But she's just like, come with me if you want to live, but I'm not going to explain of who I am or anything like that. It's just
Oh
all
my
about
god,
you.
oh my god, come with me if you want to live. She's worse than the Terminator.
The fourth Terminator movie, or fifth. Was it the
Well,
fifth one? Salvation? Yeah.
I mean, she screams the medial archetype
Yeah.
right off the bat, and yet she seems to be a contradiction because she knows what this guy's going to become, and yet she seems to be trying to defend him.
Yeah.
And
that does-
while the other guy is trying to avert tragedy.
By killing him.
Okay, if we look at it from the Terminator aspect, because you made a really, really good point I had not thought of, because I was focused on Decade and how this was actually proving Decade could be good if I rewatched it.
Apparently only in theory.
But
Nobody's gonna rewatch Decade.
someday, maybe. But anyways,
I've already rewatched Decade.
So
I'm
this
sorry.
kind of proved that it's that going back to the past, the fix it. We're here to save you, John Connor. We're here to fix the past by making it a worse clusterfuck that it inevitably does what we don't want it to do. Especially because that stupid other writer, he reminds me of from the second Terminator movie, where you have the Terminator that's like all bad CGI from the 90s, which this is bad CGI
Yeah,
from the 90s.
Except that Terminator is still pretty damn good CGI.
Yeah.
Despite being in the 90s.
And threatening.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, bad CGI.
Bad CGI.
Yeah. Somebody made the comment online like, hey, look, 90s Adobe Photoshop filters found a job.
That's what the time traveling does look like. That
No, like when they just have the riders as like statues,
Okay,
which
yeah,
also makes
wizard.
me think though, like when you see our main character there, are those statues or is that everyone frozen and the Oma Geo is actually a different character?
Maybe.
You know,
You know, that does make sense.
that doesn't make sense. That makes one particular thing. It's Bonjo's fault.
Oh, you're still on this.
There's an there's a
Oh, for,
evil one.
for those that aren't watching, that are trying to figure out what he's talking about, the TV screen is on still with all the clock watch.
All the
clocks.
stopwatches that have the riders on them.
And I too noticed that Decade is missing from this set.
Because Decade sucks.
No,
No, Decade's not there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Decade
Decade's
is not
missing.
there.
But that's because Decade's power was borrowing from other Kamen Riders' powers,
Kuga Agito.
as is Geo, so they really are. How,
Two sides of one coin.
Blade, Hibiki,
I'm-
Kabuto.
I'm
Okay.
hoping this can be like Gokaiger, which was tributes done right.
I
Guest
don't think so.
appearances by the favorites. Story development. Okay, let's be honest. The first episode of Gokaiger, pretty fast, pretty rapid introduction to these characters. It took time to get to like.
Yeah,
them.
but you still got a sense of who these characters
Is that the
were.
pirate one that you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I
What was
got
it?
okay. I actually did get a sense of who these characters were.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that very few of them are screen positivity. You've got the main character who's taking his future as a given. He's showing entitlement to be king rather than I've got to earn this.
Wait. You know what that means? He's a Generation Z. Geo.
Oh, God.
Oh.
You've-
Now you've sounded.
You've got this medial who's trying to both protect him, even though she shouldn't be. But she's at least trying to figure out how did this guy become what he is.
Turn it off.
Then you've got a guy who's trying to save the future. He's trying to save the future, so he's actually the one I'm rooting for at the moment, because he seems to be the one who has...
Well, Gates actually does have a badass looking suit.
And he has his head on straight. And then there's the Twilight fanfic guy, who's just along for the ride, but
Everything more comedy or stuff.
But I think he was surprised when the kid declared, I'm going to become the overlord that everybody loves. He's like, wait, that's not how history's supposed to work out. And then,
Thanks a lot. You've already created a time paradox and it's only the first episode.
Thanks, Nick.
and then there's
Terminator
this highly
did that.
effeminate villain.
Yeah.
I don't know how to place him yet.
I have no idea with that. I literally have no idea.
I remember when my villains looked like villains.
At least it's not the villain from Decade.
What was the villain in Decade?
But at least he looked like
The
a villain.
end.
And well, an elderly man who was always saying, damn you,
Decade, it's your fault!
Honore Dekido.
I'm an ally to the Kamen Riders.
I'm so confused.
Okay, I will say there's only one redeeming character in this entire show.
The uncle.
The uncle. Because he demonstrated the one thing that's missing from the main character. He's like, this is a clock shop, but she wants me to help her fix her radio. So he's showing that he's willing to help people.
But he also showed he missed his opportunity in life, and life doesn't give you many. So I got a sense of the characters, but like I say, they're not characters I'm readily rooting for.
My biggest issue is I was just bored with this episode.
It is slow. It is
Even the
slowest
second
thing.
time, I'm like, oh my god. This
The
is-
second time I feel was worse than the first.
Second verse, same as the first.
Only because I think, here's the funny thing. So, the two of us and Silver Quill had previously watched the episode before today.
Spoilers.
And so, we already knew what was happening. We had previously watched the build finale before today when everybody else got a chance
I had
to
actually
watch
watched it. Only Chris Lynch was the only one who had
Okay, well, let me finish my
Spoilers!
point. Nevertheless, when we were rewatching the build finale, we were all still engaged in watching it. And that's just because it's the last episode, but because Build was a good enough show that it engaged you no matter where it was in the series. We rewatched those of us that rewatched Zio. Actually, I can say none of us actually really rewatched the episode.
Well, you were doing.
I was on my phone reading Harry Potter erotica.
He was on his computer. I'm sitting here like,
And he's yelling at me for not watching, and I'm like, but I already know what's going to happen.
And if I'm making lame commentary on something I haven't watched before, there's a problem.
There is only one funny thing about the start of this episode that Silver Quill said, that Kaiju said, and then he said when he watched it, wait, is this the beginning of Decade?
with worse CGI.
Oh my
Well, no,
lords.
okay. My one favorite part of the episode, Mel, is when he says, "Bummer that I'm going to become an evil overlord."
That was the only funny line in the entire
That was
episode.
actually pretty funny.
Okay, what was your favorite thing about the episode?
Me?
Yes.
I like the transformation belt. It's got that fun spin factor to it.
Actually, this is the first time I can say that I've seen a gimmick. Because even Ghost's gimmick had something. I didn't like Xade's gimmick because I thought it was way too bulky.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt this one, I liked it, but it's by no means something I would see myself going out and getting.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of O's in that you tilt the driver at an angle, and then the spin function is kind of entertaining, like a clock.
Yes.
Although, how he knew to activate it as such.
The guy told him he would know. As I said, he already knows he's the main character of the show, so he can do whatever the show wants him. They just established that in this episode that he knows everything.
He's already his own ex-wife.
But what I desperately want is for that guy with the book to come in every time he transforms. Today you will witness the
Oh
fifth
my
bout.
god, that would be awesome.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, like, the other rider just starts shooting at him. He's like, oh, no, stop, please don't.
Actually,
no,
that
no.
remind me of Geki Ranger. I know not everyone has seen Geki Ranger,
have
probably.
not even heard of
Well, what's the name of the bee or the fly that comes
Bay?
out? Bay. Every time in this series, Bay comes out of Melee's body because she ate him, but he's still alive because she swallowed him whole. He'll escape out of
Well,
her,
she is a chameleon.
and he'll do running commentary the entire time there's a mech battle.
The winner of this mech battle will be the one that doesn't blow up.
And what's so funny about it, at least for Geki Ranger, unlike this, even though it's kind of cool, is Melee's just standing there in a huff because the fly escaped out of her and is giving running commentary until she eats him again at the end of the episode in a huff. This, he is just standing there in shock and awe. It kind of reminds me of Vanilla Ice.
Rice and gravy.
From JoJo's.
Yeah.
How he's like in awe of Dio, and every time, and no matter what Dio did, he was infallible.
No, pronounce it right. Full name entitlement: Vanilla Ice Cream.
Yeah, because the stand
yes.
is cream.
Yep.
But,
Yeah, vanilla ice and cream.
although, speaking of recurring themes and giant robots, what is this trend I've been seeing recently? It started, I think, with Xaid, where there's a giant monster, not quite giant enough to
Forze.
be as big.
Yeah, it was
Since
Forze.
Forze. Wizard didn't have that, did he?
Double did that too.
I don't remember Devil having a giant. Oh yes,
Do you
it
remember
did.
the giant
yes,
CGI
yes.
T-Rex?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Well, no, I
Oh,
mean the
but
That
giant.
didn't sound like an elephant.
I meant the giant robots because from what I remember, there was the virus in X8, the weird combiner robots in Build.
Those were.
Well, Forza did have a giant mech because the football player actually used the mech as his suit because for a good portion of the series before Meteor showed up and even after
He was the support.
Yeah, he was
Well,
the secondary
but what he's
support.
talking about is that there are all these mechs that nobody seems to notice, even though they're right there in plain sight.
But
Oh.
but also Kamen
Yeah.
Riders seem to be facing these more and more in each season, and they're semi-foot soldiers, just big ones, because there were several mechs for Build to fight. I think he blew one up in the credits each time.
Which I didn't like because it kind of felt like you're pushing the Sentai into my Kamen Rider.
Well, they'll do that at the crossovers. Hey, you got Kamen Rider in my Sentai. Well, you got Sentai in my Kamen Rider. Ooh,
You got
slash
hentai
fiction.
in my Sentai and Kamen Rider.
Ooh, the slash fictions.
Oh god.
But I'm just wondering why this sudden emphasis on larger enemies.
That's a good
Because
point.
they're larger for life and they're ballers.
Because they can do it with CGI, because they think CGI is great, because they think CGI is the future, because they think CGI looks amazing, because they don't know.
No, it's because it's cheap.
It's cheap, and our new Ultraman series that Netflix got is going to be full CGI.
However,
We're not going to talk about that.
the
We're talking
theme,
about Geo.
Geo's theme with the Egypt stuff is good.
Yeah,
Okay, I did like
the
the music
music.
with the Egyptian stuff.
Oh, with
yeah.
all the sitars
Yeah.
and everything?
That was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
the music's been really
It makes
good
me want to play
for the first
Manette more
episode.
and more from just want to
Now,
be an Egypt character.
so there was a rumor going around that the series was actually only going to air through May and be a short series like Decade. However, the writer or producer just said that every writer is going to have his own two-parter, and then after episode 38 is when their main final battle takes place.
Well, this is depressing.
So what? Are they saying the main final battle will be 12 episodes?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Hey, after Build, you never know. Although, I do like that we got to see Banjo and
Yeah.
Sento.
Sento. I mean, sure, they got walloped. I did like that the gun had a big cross-out sign when it KO'd you.
At least by that, it
That
doesn't
was
sound
cool.
like they're going to be doing the Showa era riders in the show like Decade.
No,
did.
right now it sounds like it's just 2 episodes for each Heisei rider all the way through episode 38.
I kind of hope they don't bring the Showa in here because as we
I
learned
still don't know what
in...
they're talking about.
Well, Showa is anything before...
Black
Heisei.
and Under.
Okay, so Heisei is the
Ooh,
stuff that I've
Black
seen,
Emperor.
and Showa is
Yeah,
the
you've
stuff
only
that-
seen the Heisei era
Well,
stuff.
Yeah,
How
you
many eras do I behind?
There's only 2
Two more
eras.
back.
There were 9 series of the Showa era.
Okay.
Well, you know the old literary saying, Showa, don't tell her.
But my concern is
Nice
when
one
they
on that
started doing that
Brilliant.
in Decade and they started bringing in the Showa era
Riders.
riders, it became so encumbersome because it's like, okay,
Well, completely contradicted what they were going for.
well, yeah, it was supposed to be the 10-year anniversary series. And my problem with this is I kind of feel like the way this initially started, and I could be wrong, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, is I don't want this to be an insult to the going out swan song for the Heisei Emperor. I know the Heisei Emperor probably doesn't give 2 shits because he's not going to watch the show, but still, it's like a big monumental thing for Japan.
So,
I want to see the Emperor on his retirement day come out with a driver on his belt.
I would so laugh.
I don't care which.
Having like a Godzilla figure in one hand and a driver on his
I mean,
waist.
it could be any driver he wants. That would be fantastic.
Oh my god, that would be so awesome.
I love the retired Emperor. He's fantastic. The why he chose an X8 belt, I don't know.
Hey, X8's awesome.
so
X8 is
2
fake
other
news.
things actually. So, Oma Gio has a bird for his visor.
Oh my Gio. Oh,
The
the,
one-
evil dude.
The bird actually kind of resembles the Shocker emblem.
Well, I thought the bird would have been a reference to all the Egyptian themes they're trying to do. with
Also, somebody hacked the belt, and Shocker is one of the things on the belt.
it. Okay.
Okay,
What a
that might
shock.
be for the movie though.
What a shockering development.
But, okay, people, I love you all. You're great fans. I want to talk to all of you. But why do you ruin the belts for me by hacking them? Because then I have people like him who's off screen and I'm just pointing randomly into space, want to buy everything because there's a goddamn panda.
What?
They mean, pandas are amazing.
Well, there is no panda in this series.
Yes.
Yes.
There will be no pandas in this series.
Just wait until next year.
You.
Presenting Kamen Rider Panda, and he just explodes.
Yeah. In platinum light and.
Panda in Rogue! Bum 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 bum.
Okay, we're getting off topic from this.
So
Yeah,
let's
we'll have
end this
5
off on.
What are your hopes?
Well, the hopes is that this actually does justice to the previous writers unlike Decade did, but I don't have many hopes on that.
I hope the kid grows up and stops acting like everything is owed to him, and he has to live up to the ideal of being the king. I'd also like if his heroine counterpart expresses a little bit more conflict over, I'm saving the man who's supposed to ruin the world. What am I doing?
And her acting isn't near as wooden as Reika's.
My hope is that Chrysalis Bloodborne could actually sit through an entire review because I have no hope for this show. I give it until episode 4. If I don't find anything redeeming, I can guarantee you I am tuning out for the rest of the series.
Well, 3 and 4 are the X8 episodes, 5 and 6 are 5s.
I don't care unless they're gonna.
Oh, and Kusaka's coming back for
Wait,
the
wait.
5th episode.
Wait, no.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Both him and Takumi's actors are returning.
Yep.
Well, Takumi's fine, but why Kusaka?
Free seat.
Probably because timeline-wise, it's probably going to take place before his
Yes,
death.
this is much more comfortable.
But here's the problem: they
Much.
don't look like they did
Much.
back then. So it has to
No.
be after the series.
Which I was gonna say, have you seen what Kusaka looks like?
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
look
they don't
anything
look
like they.
anything-
I just like that the 5th episode features Fies. 5 Fies, Fies Fifths.
That's because 5 means 5.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, that means 4 should have been 4Z.
Crystal Age,
Yo.
what are your hopes for the show?
Yo.
Why
I
are you
want
like
more
that
Egyptian battles.
More Egyptian battles? Okay.
Christian.
Me, what do I hope for?
So close to being
I'm
choked
choking
out.
you. Am I really choking you?
A little.
Hey,
I really.
I'm actually
feel so-
recording a murder on camera.
No!
I'm-
That's not my dream. That's not why I watch.
I'm sorry.
You know how many views I'm gonna get? The murder of Silver Quill.
Or Cruelica lives out her murder fetish.
Anywho, hopes, dreams, any of
Shut up. No, this is actually helping kill time. So like, I get it. It's a show about time and killing time. To try to think of how I. Man, you people. Are,
You know,
I'm sorry.
I always feared I'd choke on camera, but
Oh my god.
That's what she said.
Family show. I can't even say it.
Sailor Penis. Okay.
okay, now it's worth it.
My
This is what.
hopes for this show are, well, there are no hopes left. The main character already knows he's the main character. That's it. It's done.